there's a lot more over the next year. So this was sort of the part one of our 1.0 release, and the next big update is going to be beginning of next year. And I just want to be clear that's not going to stop then. And I hate these number things because for us, there's no difference. We're just going to keep working on the game. The show is going to keep on going, and 1.0 isn't anything special. It's just going to be the same as it was over the last year. It's going to be the same the next year, and the same over the year after that. We're just going to keep on pushing towards these goals that we have been pushing towards over the last 5 years, and hopefully for many years to come. And practical matters for our release schedule. Dev Branch Part 1 comes tomorrow. There's going to be a series of blogs for this update. So one you can expect next week that's expanding a little bit more on the world. We're going to launch Dev Branch Part 2 next week, the next Tuesday, and then we'll also get a post of all the concept art because there's a lot of amazing concept art that Julian worked on, possibly even the most across any update.
It combines a little bit of what was supposed to be in Winter Army, so it's naturally bigger than the rest. But
it's
yes,
bigger
there's
because
a ton.
we cheated. So
yeah, we cheated.
So and finally the release on September the 22nd.
So I was giving people a whole bunch of shit about making fun of us because summer's like over, but I was like, oh, but summer doesn't end until September 20th. Technically, this is the fall update.
Anyway, that's by our calendar, but this is the Foxhole calendar. We're still well into summer. In lore, we're still well into the summer.
There's no September anyway. So we're gonna do a Q&A, but we're only gonna ask a couple of questions here. We're gonna keep it pretty short because this has already been a really long stream. We are gonna open up just a Q&A stream on Reddit. So more questions will be answered there over time, as opposed to doing it all at once here. Sound good, everybody? All right, I'm gonna look for a couple of good questions related to the update. Good question by Orion Ox. Is sandbag cost scaled with the length? Can we do shorter sections to get a line up faster?
Right now, the cost does not scale. But again, we're balancing the economy for the sandbags throughout the Dev Branch, so things could change there. But at the moment, they cost a fixed amount. I believe it's 4, but we are open to a lot of what's happening around these because it's new. It's going to require a lot of tuning. We want to make sure it doesn't feel, in practice, it doesn't feel too much of a grind, so that number can drop down. But that's where we want your feedback, right? So it's balancing between grind and making sure that you can't just like spam them down really quick, like almost too quickly, right? But that's a really good idea. We should note it down.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. This is a really good question. And I saw it mentioned a whole bunch while we were showing off the content. King T Wood 30 asks, will there be a dedicated system for requesting logistics in light of the increased production/delivery times caused by changes to the map and all the new mechanics?
So definitely not for this update. I think with regards to that question, we've thought about that sort of system in the past, and I do feel like having better ways for logistics to coordinate is a good idea and something that we should visit in the future. But the one thing that I don't that we've sort of been careful of is we don't want to, if we do improve those tools, we'd rather get people talking to each other through voice, through text chat, and not so much through a UI, because we want players to work together, not through the UI, but more through actual talking. So I think if we do improve those systems in the future, it might be more along the lines of what we've done with the Logitech channel. Obviously, that was very basic. But if we want to add more sophistication, we want to that's in the cards, but we just want to make sure that we keep people talking to each other as opposed to talking through like a bunch of like buttons or something, right? So.
And this is a question, and I'll make this the last question for today, because this is one that a lot of people asked as well. I'm just trying to hit some broad questions that I saw. Malakir asks, can the opposing faction steal the other faction's uniform?
No, they cannot. Yeah. So we there was a lot of talk about that. Like maybe you can swap a uniform, maybe you can be a spy, and that can spiral out into a whole spy game. But it's an interesting idea. But for this, so much to be done for the uniforms. I think we kind of just wanted to sidestep that whole issue for the first version, right?
So there's potential for a spy uniform, is what you're saying.
I mean, it'd be interesting. It'd be an interesting idea, but I think we'd want to explore that together. We've thought about spy updates and things like that, but I think that'd have to be a whole thing, right? So.
Okay.
Great.
Yeah, we're gonna call it a day. With that,
Well,
so look out for that thread that I talked about on Reddit. We'll make a post in the Foxhole Discord and probably in the announcement section of the game. So you guys won't be able to miss it. If you have further questions, I'm not going to guarantee any questions all your questions will be answered, but certainly questions I would say related to this update will be answered as best as we can. Yeah, I think that's about it. Is there anything else you want to say?
No. Look out for the dev branch tomorrow, and that. Oh, yes, there's something important. So that dev branch is not going to include all these features. It's going to include the maps, the technical camera, the weapons, the tanks. But some of the other features will be coming to dev branch on Tuesday. So we're going to split it up just so that there's ample time for us to process the bugs and the feedback. And so this was the same in the last big update. We just break the dev branch up into phases. So look out for that. That's it.
Yeah. So next week, look out for the dev blog that's going to detail all the lore behind the different maps that are being added, as well as the following week, going to be posting all the concept art. So that's going to kind of trickle down as we get closer to the update. The dev branch is what date, Mark?
Tomorrow. The 10th.
So look out for the first part of the dev branch tomorrow. If you've never joined the dev branch before, just be prepared for things to be unfinished / buggy, because that's the point of it. Don't expect it to be like the launch of the thing. That'll be in a couple of weeks. So look out for the dev branch, and we'll see you guys there. If you're watching this on YouTube, HB always says something. So
remember what he said.
Remember what HB says. And then if you have some questions, you can ask those in the comments, and sometimes those get answered too. Watch us on twitch.tv/foxholegame if you're on YouTube. I think that's everything. All right, everybody. Stay foxy.